Imagine a geological feature right here in India. So ancient, it makes the dinosaurs look like, well, newborns. An enduring backbone, quietly holding up a nation, protecting its cities, and whispering tales from billions of years ago. We're talking about the Aravalli Range, India's ancient, weathered warrior. Today, our mission in this deep dive is to distill the most important nuggets of knowledge from our sources, articles, research, notes, to really get a handle on this incredible mountain range. We'll dig into its history, its vital ecological role, its rich cultural significance, and even its surprising presence right in modern Delhi. You might just be walking over its timeless foundations without even realizing it. Okay, let's unpack this. So can you maybe set the scene for us? Where exactly does this ancient sentinel start its journey across India?
Absolutely. So the Aravalli Range stretches diagonally across western India. It's a pretty formidable 800 kilometers long. It actually starts right here in Delhi, then flows down through Haryana, Rajasthan, and finally sort of peters out in Gujarat near Balampur. What's really unique, is its direction southwest to northeast. That's quite rare for Indian ranges.
Huh. Most go west to east, don't they?
Exactly, yeah. They're like the very spine of Rajasthan, though after all this time, maybe more like ancient worn ribs now.
That's a great image, ancient ribs. And I've read they've been seriously worn down over millions, even billions of years. What did they once look like?
Yeah, I mean, you've got to imagine relentless erosion, wind, water, just time itself has really humbled them. They were once these soaring, lofty mountains. Some geologists actually think they were once as tall or nearly as tall as the Himalayas.
Wow, as tall as the Himalayas.
That's the theory, yeah. Now, there are these rugged, beautiful hills. Even the name Aravalli kind of hints at this. It comes from Sanskrit ara, meaning saw, and Vali, meaning line. So line of peaks.
Ah, line of peaks. Captures both the past and present.
Precisely. Both their past grandeur and, their current worn-down form.
Okay, so when we talk age, how does it stack up against, say, the Alps or the Himalayas? What are we really talking about here, time-wise?
Right, well, this is where it gets genuinely mind-boggling. These aren't just old mountains. They are seriously ancient. They're one of the oldest mountain ranges on the entire planet, formed about 1.8 billion years ago, maybe even older. Some estimates go up to 2.5 billion.
1.8 billion.
Billion, yes. That puts their origins smack bang in the Precambrian era. This is like way before multicellular life really took off.
So just to be clear, older than the Himalayas.
Oh, way older. Older than the Himalayas, older than the Alps, older than the Rockies. They are ancient in a way very few other ranges are. Truly deep time stuff.
That's incredible. And for anyone who loves epic tales, our sources mention the Mahabharata. The Pandavas apparently wandered through these very hills during their exile.
Yes, that legend persists.
Yeah.
Adds another layer to their history.
So moving from deep history to, well, right now, what's the Aravalli's tangible impacts today? What's its importance?
Well, what's fascinating here is that despite, centuries of mining and cities sprawling into them, the Aravalli still hold this surprisingly rich biodiversity.
Right.
And it's not just a list of animals. It shows how vital they are as this ecological anchor, maintaining balance in a really changing world, like a living fossil ecosystem almost.
Yeah, the sources list quite a few animals: leopards, hyenas, jackals.
Nilgai, porcupines, jungle cats too. It's pretty
Yeah.
impressive for an area under so much pressure.
And birds. Over 200 species, apparently. Peacocks, parakeets.
Lots of bird life, yeah. And the plants are just as key.
Like the dishok trees. Those seem iconic.
Very much so. Dish babul, kedri, salar, and lots of medicinal shrubs and climbers too. Really adapted to the arid conditions. But crucially, ecologically speaking, this range protects vital aquifers. It helps recharge groundwater.
Which is huge for places like Rajasthan, right?
Yeah.
And even Delhi.
Absolutely huge. An indispensable lifeline for these water-starved regions.
Yeah.
If you think bigger picture, this ancient range is also a critical barrier. It helps stop the Thar Desert from spreading further east.
Okay, so it holds back the desert.
To a significant extent, yes. And it acts as a natural pollution filter for Delhi, trapping dust and pollutants. It's actively safeguarding the environment for millions.
A barrier, a filter, a water source. It's doing a lot of heavy lifting.
It really is.
Which makes the conservation issues even more concerning. The Aravalli seem to be a real battleground. What are the main threats?
Well, illegal mining is a massive one.
Yeah.
There was a Supreme Court ban back in 2002, but
It still happens.
yes, quite extensively in places. Entire hills have literally just vanished. It's gone.
Vanished, just mined away completely.
Completely gone. Then you've got urban expansion. Cities like Gurugram, Faridabad, they're just bulldozing right into the forest lands.
And there's also concern about that forest conservation bill from 2023.
Yeah, critics worry it might make it easier to clear forest land, which could put the Aravallis at even greater risk. It's a complex legal situation.
It sounds pretty grim. Is there any good news on the conservation front?
There is some, thankfully. Eco-sensitive zones are being proposed or have been declared in some areas, and there are afforestation projects trying to restore parts of the range. Awareness is definitely growing.
And citizen action, too, right? Like the hashtag Save Our Valleys movement.
Absolutely. That's been really important. Citizen movements are gaining real momentum, especially with younger people getting involved.
That feels hopeful, that people are fighting for these ancient hills.
It really is inspiring. It shows people are connecting, with the idea that these aren't just rocks. They're living systems essential for our future.
Okay, so let's switch gears a bit. You mentioned Delhi earlier. How does this ancient range actually show up in the capital city?
Right. Well, this is where it gets really interesting for anyone living in or visiting Delhi. The Aravalli Range sort of subtly peeks into the city, like an ancient guest who just never left.
How so?
Well, what people call the Delhi Ridge. That's actually the northernmost extension, the tail end of the Aravallis.
So that green lung running through the city is literally part of this ancient mountain range?
Exactly. So, quite literally, your metro ride, depending on the line, might be taking you over millennia of geological history. Ancient wisdom right under your feet.
Wow. So where can you actually go in Delhi to, touch these ancient rocks and experience this Aravalli connection directly?
Okay, top spots. First, definitely a Solabadi Wildlife Sanctuary. It's in South Delhi.
Right, I've heard of that.
It's proper dense forest, hidden lakes like Bardwaj Lake.
Mm-hmm.
And the wildlife is amazing for a city sanctuary. Peacocks, nilgai, mongoose, monitor lizards.
You mentioned leopards earlier.
Yes, even occasional leopard sightings, though they're very shy.
Yeah.
But it's probably Delhi's most authentic wild slice of the Aravallis. Guided walks are great there.
Okay, a Solabadi. What else?
Then there's Sanjay Van over in Marauli. Huge forested area, over 700 acres.
Wow.
Great for jogging, cycling. Plus, it's dotted with ruins, old step wells, tombs. Has a real atmosphere. And some locals say it's haunted.
Ooh, spooky. Adds a bit of flavor.
Definitely. Makes for an interesting evening walk, maybe.
Okay, what about history meeting geology?
For that, you absolutely have to go to the Marauli Archaeological Park. It's right opposite the Qutub Minar. You can actually see the walls of Kilarai Pithora, Prithviraj Chauhan's fort, built right on the Aravalli slopes.
Wow.
Yeah. And there's the Jamali Kamali tomb and mosque, the amazing Rajan Ki Bawali stepwell. It's history, literally sitting on billion-year-old rock, Mughal arches, ancient geology right there together.
That sounds incredible. History and geology intertwined.
Exactly. And don't miss Tughlaqabad Fort near the Badaipur border. Massive, Gothic-looking ruins built directly on Aravalli rocks. Very dramatic. Also supposedly cursed.
Delhi seems to like its curses.
It seems so. And finally, a real success story. The Aravalli Biodiversity Park in Vasant Kunj. It was a mined-out area, totally degraded, but it's been restored with native Aravalli plants. Now it's thriving over 150 species of birds, lots of butterflies, a real conservation miracle.
That's fantastic. So restored Aravalli landscape right in the city.
Precisely. And for the more adventurous, you've got the ridge areas near Delhi University's North Campus, and the Monkey Trail near Qutub Minar offers some rugged paths too.
Great tips. Any advice for visiting these places?
Well, most are pretty easy to get to by metro, which is handy. And definitely try visiting early morning or just before sunset. The way the light hits the quartzite rocks, they glow this beautiful pinkish orange. It's like Delhi quietly remembering its billion-year-old bones.
Lovely image. Okay, so the ridge is the key connection. But what about the very heart of power? Lutyens Delhi, Rosina Hill, Connaught Place. Are they on the Aravallis?
That's a good question, and the answer is a bit nuanced. Connaught Place and most of Lutyens Delhi aren't directly sitting on prominent, rocky Aravalli hills like you see in South Delhi. They're built mostly on flatter alluvial plains.
Okay, so not directly on the rocks.
Not the dramatic rocky outcrops, no. However, they are fundamentally connected through the Delhi Ridge. Remember, the ridge is the Aravalli's northernmost extension. It runs underneath or very close by. Think of it as the deep-seated tailbone of the range influencing the area.
Right, and you mentioned the ridge is divided into parts.
Yes, traditionally four parts. The central ridge is the one closest to Lutyens' Delhi, running near places like Carol Bog and towards the presidential estate.
So where does the Aravalli influence actually show up in the Lutyens zone?
You can see it in places like Buddha Jayanti Park. There's definitely part of the ridge forest, technically Aravalli zone, and it has that characteristic hilly, rocky terrain. And Resina Hill itself, where Rashtrapati Bhavan sits, while it's more of a symbolic elevation, a low rise, geologically it has continuity with the ridge beneath it.
Interesting. So maybe not a big hill, but connected deep down.
Exactly. And here's a really direct link
Mm-hmm.
to this stone. A lot of the iconic red and pink sandstone used to build Parliament, Rashtrapati Bhavan North and South Block, that was quarried from the Aravalli foothills in Rajasthan.
Ah, so the buildings are literally made of Aravalli rock.
In many cases, yes. Made from its very stone. It's a tangible connection.
That's fascinating. And I read a fun fact. Apparently, Edwin Lutyens himself deliberately preserved the ridge forest when designing New Delhi.
He did. He recognized its importance for cooling the city, providing a green space, and stopping dust storms from Rajasthan. Functions the Aravallis still perform today.
So he understood the ecological value even back then.
Seems so. Now, about Resina Hill specifically, just to be clear, it's a low natural elevation, not classic, jagged, Aravalli rocky terrain like you find further south. It's mostly built on alluvium overlying the Delhi quartzite bedrock.
But that bedrock is the same ancient stuff.
Yes, the same ancient rock that forms the core of the Delhi Ridge. So you could say it's the same ancestral rock family, just not presenting as a dramatic Aravalli hill right there.
Okay, that clarifies it. So geologically connected, but not a mountain peak.
Precisely. And leading geologists, geological surveys, they all confirm this. The Delhi Ridge, which underlies Resina Hill, is definitely a deeply weathered northern continuation of that whole Aravalli Delhi fold belt. It shares the same ancient quartzite bedrock from the Proterozoic era.
Proterozoic era. Which brings us back to that incredible age. How ancient are we really talking?
Okay, let's really try and grasp the scale. The Aravallis are among the oldest fold mountains in the world. The estimates hover around 1.8 to maybe even 2.5 billion years old.
Billion, with a B.
With a B. Now think about supercontinents. Pangaea formed around, 335 million years ago? Gondwana maybe 550 million years ago?
Right. Seems ancient itself.
Well, the Aravalli was already ancient when they were forming. It was like a grandparent watching toddlers play when Pangaea and Gondwana were just coming together and breaking apart.
That's hard to even comprehend. How did they form so long ago?
It was a massive tectonic collision, similar in process to how the Himalayas formed, but just billions of years earlier. The ancient Indian landmass, or its core part, collided with another continental block. This immense pressure folded the existing ancient rocks, creating this huge mountain range, the Aravalli Delhi fold belt.
And then billions of years of erosion wore them down.
Exactly, wore them down to the ribs we see today. But the rocks themselves, their structure, it's a window into Earth's deep past.
So older than the Himalayas, Alps, Rockies.
And get this, older than multicellular life itself. The Aravallis were already standing tall before complex animals or plants even existed on Earth.
That's truly staggering.
They've witnessed the rise of continents, the formation of oceans, maybe even the oxygenation of our atmosphere. They hold secrets about Earth's earliest crust formation, continental drift, things we can hardly see elsewhere.
It gives you a whole new perspective. Okay, beyond the geology, these hills must be full of human stories, folklore, spirituality.
Oh, absolutely. They're deeply woven into the cultural fabric. You find echoes everywhere.
Like ghost stories. I heard about Bangar.
Ah, yes, the infamous Bangar Fort, right in the Aravalli foothills, widely considered India's most haunted place.
What's the story there?
Well, the popular legend involves a tantric sorcerer, Singya, who fell for the beautiful Princess Ratnavati. He tried to use magic oil to win her over.
Classic move. Didn't work, I assume.
Not quite. She saw through it, threw the oil onto a large boulder, which then rolled down and crushed the sorcerer. But before dying, he cursed the entire city to ruin and desolation.
And the curse stuck.
Apparently. It said that no one can build a roof on any house there. If they do, it collapses by morning. It's officially off limits after sunset. Spooky stuff.
Definitely adds to the mystique. Any other powerful legends?
There's the very moving story of Panadai from Mewar, near the Aravallis. She was a nursemaid to the infant Maharana Uday Singh, who later founded Udaipur. When an assassin came to kill the young prince, Panadai sacrificed her own son, putting him in the prince's cradle to save the royal heir.
Oh my god, that's intense.
It's seen as this ultimate act of dharma righteous duty, placing loyalty to the kingdom above even her own motherhood. A really powerful tale of sacrifice associated with the region.
These hills have seen so much. And folk songs, too.
Yes, definitely. There are local folk songs celebrating the hills, like one that goes, Aravalli ki choti pe baje moriben. On the peak of Aravalli, my flute plays. Captures that connection.
Beautiful. And what about sacred sites? Are there important temples?
Loads. The Aravallis are a landscape of really profound sacred geography. Think of the Dilwara temples on Mount Abu.
Ah, the Jain temples.
Yes, absolutely stunning white marble carvings, incredibly intricate and delicate, built between the 11th and 13th centuries, a major Jain pilgrimage site. Then near Udaipur, there's the Eklinji temple, dedicated to Lord Shiva. He's considered the guardian deity of the Muir kingdom. The rulers actually saw themselves as servants of Eklinji, not as kings themselves.
That's a powerful concept, Shiva as the true ruler.
Exactly. And you find Surya temples, dedicated to the sun god, dotted around too. Makes sense, as these hills often catch the first light over the desert plains.
And what about local, maybe tribal beliefs?
Very important too. You find many sacred groves known as orans, especially in tribal villages. These are areas dedicated to Vandevtas, or forest deities. In an Oran, cutting trees is forbidden. Animals often roam freely. They're ancient community conservation areas protected by faith.
Wow, so faith and conservation linked for centuries.
Absolutely, it's deeply ingrained. If these hills could talk.
They'd say something like, I've seen kingdoms rise and fall, gods worshipped and forgotten, forests bloom and burn, and still I stand old, scarred, but sacred.
That captures it perfectly.
So wrapping up this deep dive, it's really clear that Aravalli Range is so much more than just, rocks and hills. It's this living tapestry of history, ecology, culture, a silent sentinel standing for billions of years.
Indeed. Its significance is just immense, from shaping the climate and providing water to holding these ancient human stories and spiritual beliefs. It's a testament to nature's endurance and its deep connection to human civilization in this part of the world.
So here's a thought to leave you with. How does knowing about the Aravallis, their incredible age, their silent resilience, their hidden role, even in a city like Delhi, how does that change how you see the everyday landscapes around you? What other ancient wonders, what other deep stories might be hiding right under our feet, waiting to be noticed?